when I wake up in the morning
Yep.
and the alarm gives out a warning, and I don't think I'll ever make it on time. By the time I grab my books and I give myself a look, I'm at the corner just in time to see the bus fly by. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3, back once again with I'll say, AC Slater to my Zach Morris on another edition, Steven Jensen on another edition of Degrassi Dudes, which this time we're switching up the formula. We won't be talking about Degrassi. We will be talking about another classic high school TV series, and we are talking about Saved by the Bell. Jensen, how are you doing this Friday morning?
Nice and tired, but never too tired to talk about these shows that we grew up loving. So, yeah, Saved by the Bell, man. It's all right because I'm Saved by the Bell. My alarm put out a warning this morning when I was laying in bed, and I was like, why am I so tired? Why is my alarm going off? I was like, oh, it's Friday. You know what that means.
You know what that means. If the teacher pops a test, I know I'm in a mess. And my dog ate all my homework last night. Riding low in my chair, she won't know if I'm there. And if I can hand it in tomorrow, it'll be all right. I'm sorry. We both said last week though that theme song is a classic, but the best one was, I'm standing at the edge of tomorrow.
And it's all up to me how far I go. Yeah.
And as long as we could just spend this entire episode singing these theme songs, honestly.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like the funniest thing is, like, I know we talked about it last week, but like when I actually went to college and I was like walking to my dorm room for the first time, like that song was just like playing in my head the entire time. We're just like, I cannot believe I'm in college. And but also part of the problem with a show like Saved by the Bell was like, I thought that like my high school experience was nothing like that television show, but like I grew up like thinking that it was like gonna be like that, or like I was gonna have like some like cool principal that like let us get away with shenanigans. Like me and my buddies would just be like always hanging out and having good times. It was nothing like Saved by the Bell. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't even know where you want to start with this thing, but there's plenty we can deep dive in when it comes to Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, I think it was best because I told Jeremy that we could even go back to the Good Morning Miss Bliss era.
Yep.
Because I remember those in syndication. You used to have Zach in like the studio with this like nice designer backdrop, and he's just like, I remember the days in junior high school when me and my friends and we had this teacher and her name was Miss Bliss. So yeah, it was Zach, Screech, and Lisa out of the core 6 who were still in Good Morning Miss Bliss. But you also had I gotta look up this the names of these.
I remember Mikey was kind of like the Slater.
Yes. Mikey, there was Mikey, and then there was Nikki. Nikki was kind of like Nikki kind of had the archetype of Kelly, but she was really the archetype of Jessie, really, when you go back and remember it.
Yeah. She also kind of had vibes of like Tori, who was on later on. Remember?
That's also true. Yes.
Yeah. Ben, this was also, by the way, Good Morning Miss Bliss was set in Indiana, if I believe correct.
It was.
And then they all just shifted to California when Saved by the Bell started. The principal and like 3 of the kids just happened to wind up in California. So
yes, Mr. Belden was still the principal. Good Morning Miss Bliss was supposed to be centered on Haley Mills playing Miss Carrie Bliss. Good Morning Miss Bliss, and it was at John F. Kennedy Junior High in Indianapolis, and she was often put into morally difficult situations by her work, and often served as the only person her students could turn to, and her 8th grade students included Zach Morris, played by Mark Paul Gosselaar, a charming, manipulative scamp. That's what the Wikipedia calls it.
What word did they say? Charming manipulative what?
Scamp.
Scamp. I've never even heard that word before. Okay.
I've never heard it either. But he says that he's lazy and not a good student and always looking for the easy way out. However, in the episode Parents and Teachers, Miss Bliss said that Zach had the most potential of all her students. So take what you will.
Yeah. I don't know why, but like the episode that I remember the most vividly of Good Morning Miss Bliss, I saw all of them. I mean, I saw every episode of that,
Me
every
too.
episode of Saved by the Bell, college years.
Yeah.
I mean, not new class. I saw a couple of those, but it was just too different. But
I saw like the first season, maybe. I think no, the first 2 seasons of First Class, because I remember Next Class, because I remember like seeing the season 2 to see if Screech would actually become like assistant principal instead of the assistant to the principal. Like,
right.
I wanted to see how Screech advanced more than I wanted to see any of these kids. I didn't care about any of the kids in New Class.
What was so confusing for me too, because we're the same age, like we saw this show in syndication, but when I was watching it, I didn't realize how old it was when I was watching it. So like when New Class was like actually like a new show that was like airing weekly or whatever, it was hard for me to like understand. Like it's like, wait, Screech is supposed to be at college with the other guys that like on the college years, but he's also like I couldn't fully understand how the timeline had worked. But then you realize like, oh well, like college years wrapped up years probably before New Class ever started, and then they like revisited it. But when it came to Good Morning Miss Bliss, which by the way I only knew as Saved by the Bell until I realized it was called Good Morning Miss Bliss, like once again years later.
Yeah, because we watched it on syndication where they literally every episode of Good Morning Miss Bliss, they started off in syndication with Zach, older Zach, when he's like 16, supposed to be 16, 17, and he's reminiscing about his time in junior high.
Yes, exactly. So we had a weird. And by the way, for people who might not understand, like this show was on so often when we were growing up in the 90s. Like it'd be on like TBS, like 4 hours straight, and like
I just told Jeremy on FMC that's how I woke up every morning. My mom knew to turn that on, and that was the way to get me up for school.
Yep, it would be on before school and it'd be on after school too. Like it was insanely popular show. And I remember for whatever reason, Good Morning Miss Bliss, the main episode I really remember really well was the one where they invest as a class in potatoes and like Zach convinces the whole class to use like the money that like is clearly like Miss Bliss's money that this and he winds up losing all their money in potato stalks, and then like Miss Bliss like can't afford to get like a car and stuff like because of it. And like I just remember that for really well for some reason. Just like maybe it's just the idea of like investing in potatoes that just like sticks with me. Like this is such an odd idea, but I remember that one really well. What kind of like memories do you have of the Miss Bliss side of the show?
My biggest memory is actually the first episode that I see here listed is Summer Love, where Zach finds out the older 9th grade girl he had told everyone he was at summer camp with. No, it's actually which one is it? It's actually the one where like this pop star, he meets the pop star that's staying with Miss Bliss because she's like Miss Bliss's niece.
Stevie, right?
Yeah,
Stevie.
Yeah. And he meets her, and he doesn't know that it's actually Stevie until she performs at the school, and he goes face to face with her. He's like, oh my God, I did kiss Stevie, because he bet that was his scam in that episode, that he was betting money that he could kiss Stevie.
Yes, that's right. Yep, I do. I mean, that's the thing. If once you start mentioning a couple things, it'll just start unzipping my brain to where like I'll start remember. Like I don't know how I remember that girl's name was Stevie to begin with, but I remember what she looked like and everything. She had like when she was performing, she had like the 90s, like the big hair thing. Yeah, yes. It is so funny because they established right off the bat the like misogynistic side of this whole show, where it's like immediately making bets on if you can hook up with the girls and stuff. Like, because that was a Zach Morris theme throughout his entire existence as a character, was always like betting Slater or Mikey or whoever was around that like he could get with whatever girl that like they were trying to get with or whatever it was. They were always making bets and stuff. And once again, I thought that's what high school was gonna be like. I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna be like betting on everything and like stealing the mascot from another school and like all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I quickly found out like you do any of these things, like you get like arrested. Like it's like people don't just like do these things.
You get expelled and possible arrested. Like, oh my god, like it's crazy. It's crazy. And CM says, was that Zach's first big scam? It was one of his first big scams because he had a couple of them. But so yeah, that was the Zach character. The second character they have listed here is Lisa Turtle, Lark Vorhees, who's a risk shopaholic and best friend of Nikki. Lisa is the crush of many guys in the school and in Miss Bliss's class, especially Screech. And then you have Samuel Screech Powers, who is played by the late great Dustin Diamond, R.I.P. Dustin. An awkward nerd with a crush on Lisa, but an excellent student and very honest. And then we have the other characters that really don't have much shelf life here because they kind of are gone after the Good Morning Miss Bliss era. But you got Mikey Gonzalez, who is Zach's best friend, who although not generally as awkward as Screech, became quite shy around girls. A good student, especially in math and history, but sometimes gets into conflict with Zach. And then you got Nikki Coleman, who is played by Heather Hopper, who was outspoken and often advocated the moral course of action when the others decided to do something mischievous. So that's why I said like she's more of the archetype for Jesse. As CM says in the chat, Nikki definitely was Jesse on the caffeine.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I'm so scared.
Caffeine pills.
That's the most reiterated Saved by the Bell scene of all time.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like some of the stuff you just mentioned, like Screech and Lisa, like that theme carried throughout like the entire series, all the way through college. Like he was trying to get with Lisa. It never happened either, right? Like they might have kissed a couple times out of like pity or something, like Lisa just being nice to him kind of stuff, but like Screech never got there with Lisa. But all the other characters, like Zach was hooking up with. I remember there was one time like Zach and Lisa got together, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" Zach and Jesse, and like
that was awful.
Yeah.
Zach and Lisa
broke Screech's heart too. He's like,
yes,
man.
Because he walks in on them. That like you can see Screech's heart being broken. We got Jeremy Lambert joining us first time on Degrassi Dudes since we're talking about one of his favorite shows, Saved by the Bell. But yeah, the Zach making out with Lisa was just like that's when Zach was the biggest heel to me.
Yes. Yeah. That and then at least when they did the storyline with like Jesse, when they did the dwarfs, the Snow White thing, where they explored that, they both realized, we're just kind of like better off as friends. Like the thing with Lisa was out of nowhere and it went nowhere, and I didn't understand it at all. Zach just had to, be with everybody. That's really what it came down to.
They never addressed that ever again. It was like Zach and Lisa after that one episode. And I think that was like the final season of Saved by the Bell where all the episodes were not in order, if you remember that. Even really? On syndication, like you would have, because there's like the season starts off, I think, with Kelly and Jesse in the season. And then they wanted to do other stuff. So then the Tori character comes in. So you have the middle portion that just has Tori in it. That also has the famous Zach and Slater fight over, I think this is over like a girl they just met. And Zach sucker punches Slater.
Yeah.
You also got Zach trying to get with Slater's sister in that part as well. Then eventually he gets with Tori after it started off with him trying to get Tori. And then after he gets with Tori, it's like 2 or 3 episodes. And then Jesse and Kelly are back. It's like very weird how that last season went.
It is. You're right, though. That is exactly what happened. There was something going on where they either wanted to do other stuff or there was some sort of contract things. Because I also remember Tiffany Amber Thiessen wound up on 90210, like not too long after, too, which was like an even bigger show or close to Saved by the Bell popularity wise. Like she went from like one huge show to the other, which was funny because I was a big Saved by the Bell fan and my mom loved 90210. So like she would be talking about her and I was like, wait, that's Kelly Kapowski. Like, But dude, I remember, like, I'm just remembering so much weird stuff now. Like, we just start bringing up like names and stories. Remember that episode where like Slater's like lizard dies and they try to cover it up?
That episode rules when they're on the frying pan and he's going through and he's like questioning everybody as the lizard. That episode rules.
And then also just real quick with Screech. He does wind up getting a girl eventually. That was her name, Violet.
Violet, played by Tori Spelling.
Tori Spelling, yeah. So he does find like a perfect person for him eventually. Man, I remember like the whole like him getting the girl who pretended to like him and gave him the beret for the chess match and all that. Oh, man, I'm like remembering so much stuff right now I haven't thought about in so long. Oh man,
it's like opening your mind up. Jeremy, what's your favorite Saved by the Bell episode?
Oh, episode? Oh, man. I'm bad at like narrowing. I'm bad at picking like favorites and like narrowing stuff down and stuff. I don't know if I like off top of my head have like an actual favorite episode. What are you picking, Jensen?
I've got one. It's gotta be the No Hope with Dope episode with
that one's very good.
With Johnny. Okay, because Johnny Dakota. Johnny Dakota. That's Degrassi. But that's a Zach Morris. We're gonna watch some Zach Morris's trash on on Twitch after this. So anyone watching after this, we're gonna jump on, watch some of that. Twitch.tv/FightTalk_ and True Heel Heat. And we'll definitely watch the Zach Morris's trash episode about the No Hope with Dope episode, because Johnny Dakota was the coolest guy who has ever been a part of Saved by the Bell. And they made him look like the biggest villain when he was actually the coolest guy. Like, this dude was like a movie star, just hooking up Zach with like all these chicks and like giving him like free weed and stuff. And like they just he like gets on him for smoking weed at his own house party and stuff. I was like, this as a kid, I thought that Johnny Dakota I was like, how could this liar be lying about doing this and doing these anti-drug PSAs? As an adult, I'm like, this was the coolest guy who's ever been on this show, and they did him so dirty.
Yo, that is one of the famous episodes for sure, because they had at the end the whole "Don't do dope."
The PSA.
Commercial.
Yeah.
I still use that GIF sometimes when it's like Slater walking down the stairs and he's like stinks, or like they're saying like dopey, like they're like saying like things that describe. I think Screech says stinks. He pops out of a locker and he's like, yeah. But I use those kind of GIFs sometimes still, where it's like that PSA, and then they brought in like the actual like head of NBC and stuff to do like this. Yeah.
I like where they reopened the pirate radio and Slater's just awful at radio.
Yes.
And I was like, where he's like reading the football scores, like, well, we gotta just like change. It's like 10-2. 10-2. And he's going through that, and they do the big telethon where Slater finally comes in and like saves the day and stuff. But Bopper, Big Belding Bopper.
Yeah, the Big Bopper.
The Big Bopper.
Oh my God.
I really like that episode. The prom episode where Zach and Kelly have their like outside prom because she's worried about like spending money and stuff. Yeah, that ends happy. As someone who loves love, I love that they
the one where they're dancing outside the school together at the end.
Yeah. My two favorites that come to mind is another one with Zach and Kelly at the dance, but this is the breakup after she gets with Jeff, because I still remember Slater and Jesse singing the song in the back, "Don't tease without you," like that. Just songs are the ones that stick in my mind the most. That's why my other favorite one is when they become a pop group, Friends
Forever. Hell yeah!
Now is that the one that was like the VH1 behind the music type episode, where like it shows like their rise to fame and like their huge downfall, because like Zach, they all wind up like becoming too famous for their own good. Yeah, that's the other thing too about this show is like the Friends Forever band that they have that like randomly kind of pops up with these songs and stuff, and oh my god. So like the craziest thing is that last week you said there was only like 4 seasons of this show or something, which I couldn't believe because it was on syndication for so long. It seemed like there were so many more episodes, but I must have just watched the same episodes like a trillion times growing up. Like,
and that's exactly what we've all done is we've seen these episodes so much that it does feel like it was on forever. But yeah, it really wasn't on that long. There really weren't that many episodes of it, and I think you guys touched on it a little bit. Is like some stuff is so out of order, like the random like Tori season like drop in where they do that, but then like Tori leaves because Kelly and Jesse are back, so that whole thing gets things kind of murky. I think the college series is like kind of more like executed and more flowing than the actual like the high school series, because I don't know if you guys mentioned it, but yeah, it starts off as like Good Morning Miss Bliss when they're in like elementary school. It feels like they're so young, and then it goes into high school. But yeah, like that early seasons, it like really the whole series is like kind of all over the place until they get into the college series.
There was also like the short time where they're like on like they're working at like the beach or whatever with Stacey Carosi was her name. Yeah.
Mr.
And the dad Leon Carosi. Yeah.
Those were great episodes. I loved all those episodes because it's like anytime they went outside of like Bayside, you kind of remember those more vividly. And that like I still remember how he broke up with Stacey Carosi at the end of the summer. Like, it's the end of the summer. We're gonna be in different places. Like, I love the emotional scenes where Zach has to actually be serious for a moment and actually break up with a girl or get his heart broken. Those are very rare. They stand out in my mind even more.
And Zach's his I don't even know what you call it. Zach Morris is not just confined to just ruining people's lives inside of Bayside High School. Like, he's everywhere he goes, he's somehow like getting all the girls and ruining everyone's lives. Like, but when we're watching it as it was happening as kids, he was our hero. Like, yes, I wanted to be Zach Morris so bad. Like, I thought he was the coolest guy in the world. Then when I became an adult, I was like, wait a second. Then especially when the Zach Morris's trash series started, I was like, these guys are so right. Like, Zach Morris was the biggest asshole in like TV history.
He's really like I've gone back over the past few months and like rewatched some stuff because the EP likes to watch it with the kids, and like when you watch it now, you're like, Zach's honestly, he's awful. Just an awful human being. Like, trying to always ruin relationships, scheming, coming up with different things, like trying to ruin people's lives. But yeah, when you're a kid watching this stuff, like, Zach seems like the coolest guy because he controls the entire show and everything. And he does like the timeout. He can talk to the audience. Like, the way he manipulates it makes it seem like he's the coolest guy. But then when you watch it with more adult eyes, you're like, oh yeah, don't be like him at all. Just please. Do not be like him.
You want to know what's kind of crazy? Because we just brought this up. I just went on Google and just typed in like best Saved by the Bell episodes, just like to see what like the fans thought. And the first, like the top like Google search for it is, what episode does Zach and Lisa kiss? Like, everyone seems to be outraged forever about that thing.
That's a terrible episode.
It is, because nothing comes of it. Like, you can kind of watch a lot of like the early seasons. That's like kind of standalone episodes. Like, the main thread that kind of stays connected in like the first season of Saved by the Bell is the love triangle of Zach, Slater, and Kelly. Is, Slater's coming in, he's the jock, so Kelly has her eyes on him, but Zach has always been in love with Kelly. So that's like the ongoing thread, but you can kind of watch a lot of those episodes as single form and they don't get kind of outdated. But yeah, that episode, there was no continuality to it. There was no thread from the rest of the season. Even the portion with Tori, there's no thread. I just remember that was when Tori was a part of the class, I believe during that time, and there's just no thread to the rest of the season in that.
They did that a lot too. I mean, like, remember when Jesse had like a brother for like an episode?
Yeah,
that guy Eric.
That was like 2 episodes.
Like,
it was a stepbrother.
Stepbrother. Stepbrother. Yeah,
it was.
What I was saying, like, that was never before talked about, never talked about after. Like,
because the revolution. The resolution was that he was staying, and then we never saw him again.
Exactly, because like he was like the villain for like the 2 episodes, and then and they're like they all make good, and then once again, if this was a part of like Zach Morris's strategy, like, means he probably fucking killed himself. You know what I mean? Like, that's what happened to all these characters, all these one-off characters. Like, oh my god. There was another episode that was just on the tip of my tongue that I was just which was it? It was oh my god, there was another one that I just was thinking about, and now I'm blanking on it. Well, it was the friendship bracelet one where they sell the friendship bracelet. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah,
buddy bands.
Yes.
And then they turn it into like friend cuffs or something like that. Like yeah. Oh man.
Wow. That episode.
I think I was just watching the Zach Morris's trash with the one you mentioned before with the beret, when basically like the whole Zach Morris's trash episode is basically telling you how he's really the reason for all the mayhem that happens in this episode. Like Screech is very good at chess, so he tries to exploit him by selling his t-shirts with him on it without his licensing. Then he tells him that you're only good at chess because of the beret, so he make all of his talents devoted to one article of clothing. And then the girl is obviously trying to scam Screech, but Zach is too busy trying to smash the girl to even pay attention to all the obvious signs. Then he tells the girl where Screech is going to put the beret, so she steals it. Then he has to commit international kidnapping by kidnapping the guy that Screech is going to be against. It's like levels to the mayhem that he causes, and it's so great.
I mean, look, he is on a different level, honestly. Zach is on a different level. Well, do not nobody needs to model around Zach Morris ever.
In that chess one, like, doesn't Zach eventually like put on a wig and like pretend to be the guy? Like, yeah. Oh my god, I'm remembering so many things right now that
so you guys mentioned like them going like away from Bayside and stuff. When they go to Hawaii and save the hotel, like that's like a couple episode arc right there. Screech becomes like the king of whatever those people.
Oh, that's
right. The Hawaiian tribe or something.
Yeah, the Hawaiian getaway episodes. I like those.
I think I always get that mixed up with the resort one. So I gotta.
It was like, wasn't it called like Hawaiian style? It was like something real generic like that. Yeah. Oh my god.
And then the resort one where Jesse's dad is getting married. They do that little arc as well.
Because I remember, because this was after Zach and Kelly had broken up, and then they start trying to get back with each other, but then both of them have eyes for other people around them, and they just decide, let's be friends again, and then they don't even like get back together or have any spark together until like the final episode when Zach needs a date for the prom, and he's just like, the only girl I can go with is Kelly, so he scams and gets the guy that was going with Kelly to like be turned off by her.
But because like he's like, her brothers are gonna kick the shit out of you and stuff.
Yeah,
very great.
Well, that reminds me. At one point, he was like Kelly's sister, who he only saw like the one time, had a crush on Zach.
Yeah. And that was wasn't that with the team line?
Yes. He gets like the phones mixed up, like who he's talking to when, and like he like confesses his love to the sister instead of Kelly. Do you remember the episode? Remember the episode where Zach, where he like finds out his Native American heritage and then cuts like a racist Indian promo like in front of his class, like in like an Indian headdress and like that was another Zach Morris's trash. I'm pretty sure. Yes. Dude, some of this stuff just doesn't hold up good at all anymore. But like, it's so funny, like when you think about it, because when we watched it, we didn't get that at all. Like, we didn't understand what we were seeing. So, but oh my god, that was because that guy dies too. Like, oh my god, good stuff. Running like Zach,
the one show that Zach was on the track team too. There's like Zach is rarely in sports teams, but when he is, it only lasts one episode. Because I remember.
He's on the basketball team and he has the knee injury.
Yeah,
where he has to undergo surgery. and stuff. I was thinking about that episode, but yeah, he does that. He's never on the football team, is he?
No, but he scams the football team. Like he like gets Slater to play hurt and stuff.
Yeah.
One episode. Yeah. Because I think
and
Slater
he doesn't do one of the things I always bring up like around here and stuff, where Slater wants to they're doing home ec, the bacon a cake song. I be singing that shit all the time when I'm in the kitchen and bacon's like a bacon a cake. Woo! Singing that shit all the time.
Well, it's funny because right before you jumped on here, me and SB3 were talking about how when we went off to college, we were playing like the Saved by the Bell, the college years song in like our heads, like walking into our dorms for the first time, because they did have some banger songs on this show that, like, you know, if nothing else, like the songs have held up really well, I think.
100%.
So.
100%.
Yeah. Standing at the edge of tomorrow.
Today.
Today.
The echo and everything.
And then like Mike Golick is like the RA.
Mike Golick, yeah.
I remember he tries out for the NFL, like when with the
I think about that, and then when he's watching the game with Screech, and Screech is like rooting for the referees, and he's like, "Oh, I hate that referee. Like he flagged me on this play or whatever." He's like, "Did you see that call? That was such a great call." And he's like, "I can't watch this with you."
That's so funny.
That was very funny. I thought like the college years lasted longer, but that was only one season too. Like I kind of separated in my mind like the college years, because I remember the pilot has Yvette from Smart Guy in it. And then she's never seen again.
Yeah.
She's only in the pilot because they replace her with Kelly, because the pilot establishes that Zach is after Leslie, which is kind of like a Jesse archetype, but she's blonde. So of course Zach is attracted because he's attracted to every blonde girl.
He's attracted to just everyone, period.
Yeah.
He's the only one that kissed all three of the main girls on the show. You're actually right, because you mentioned the seven Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs one where he kisses Jesse.
If there's a girl, like Tori comes along, he gets a Tori. Like when the beach episodes, the summer vacation, he's with Stacy. Yeah. If there's a girl, Zach is just gonna be linked to her. That's how it is.
Yes.
You remember the girl with the home that was homeless with her homeless dad, the Christmas episode?
Oh my God, yes. Even her, like he made her feel even worse on Christmas. Like
because she's eating an apple for lunch and he keeps talking about it. He keeps bringing it up. Oh yeah, you're trying to watch your figure and stuff. And then he meets the homeless dad. He sees him shaving and he like makes a whole spectacle of him shaving in the bathroom, and then gives him $3 and thinks it's so happy with himself after giving him the $3. And then he's talking about it at the store with the girl, being like, I hope he doesn't spend it on drugs or alcohol. Like it's $3. What type of heroin is he gonna get with $3?
Well, yeah, you can't even get good drugs for $3. Like, what's the point? Wait, dude, was that the same episode? Was it? I think it was different episodes where they stay in the mall overnight.
I was about to bring that up. Yeah,
and then
episodes.
Yeah, and that's like there, but it turns out to be like a hidden camera show or something.
Yeah.
The guys that are showing up. Like, what?
That's another one of my favorites, honestly. With the mall episode, that is great.
Oh my
yes,
God.
That was when they were like setting the mall for like 2 or 3 episodes. I think that was like around Christmas time, because they had the Christmas one and then they had that one. So yeah, man. I love how the ones outside of Bayside are the ones that stand out in our minds the most.
Yeah. Yeah, it was U2 tickets that they were trying to get in that.
Yeah. I want to pop on and talk about Saved by the Bell because I love that show. I gotta go listen to a Tony Storm interview now. So y'all have a good one. Let's do more Saved by the Bell talk and discuss that show some more. Yeah, Ryan brought up the Christmas one and the homeless dad. We just talked about that, Ryan. Rewind, Ryan. I think about that episode a lot when I'm wrapping presents, because Slater's awful at wrapping, and I'm terrible at wrapping presents. Every time I wrap a present, I'm just Slater when it comes to this stuff. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Oh, CM says that they delivered the baby. Yes, in the elevator. Mrs. Belding being pregnant.
Yes. That was another one with Tori. That was I remember the Tori ones vividly, because Tori was all freaking out when they were in the elevator and stuff.
Was it like an earthquake or something? Yeah.
That's how they build it up. They're like doing the practice stuff for the earthquake, and Tori gets all freaked out, and then they get stuck in the elevator and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my god!
All right, guys, y'all have a good show. I'll catch y'all later on. Love you guys. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, see you, dude.
See you, brother. Ryan brings up a good one, the driving school one where Slater is like an expert at driving and he's already got a car and stuff, so Zach has to like come up with a whole ploy and takes like the brakes out of the test car when Slater's gonna drive Kelly to cheerleading practice and then they crash and then Kelly acts like she has a concussion when she finds out that Zach was behind it to make Zach feel guilty.
Yeah, was that Mr. Testaverde was the driving ed teacher?
Mr. Testaverde, yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I remember that guy, and dude, I don't know why, like so many episodes just popping up in my head. Like there was an episode where Screech had like pasta sauce that they like exploited to like try to make a bunch of money off of, and like dude, there was all these like Shark Tank style episodes where it was like entrepreneurial schemes that were like really good ideas that Zach would just ruin.
Zach always ruined everything. He was always obsessed with ruining stuff. I remember the earlier years where I think like Jeremy was just bringing up how they did the dream sequences in the earlier seasons. Like I remember one where I think the plot of the episode was Jessie was very like insecure about her height. And she was dating a guy that she was taller than, and every guy she came close to, she got taller and taller and taller.
I completely forgot. That's so true. Oh man. Oh, and Ryan saying he stole the pasta recipe or the sauce recipe from, it was like a Betsy Crocker. They couldn't call it Betty Crocker, but
it was like it's a family cookbook.
Yeah.
It's like a Betty Crocker cookbook.
Oh my god. Good stuff.
Oh, I gotta bring up one of the more famous episodes is when the boys have a slumber party at Screech's house, and they do the famous ba 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 baram ba 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 ba.
You're okay. What movie is that synonymous with from the 90s?
It's one with Tom Cruise. Risky.
No. Well, no. No. Well, I'm going Surf Ninjas.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Surf Ninjas. Yes. I haven't heard that name of that movie in years.
Ryan got it. Yeah, that was because the guy's name was like Bob Aram or something like that. Like close to the song, and they gotta sing. They sing it to the guy. He's like visiting. Man, Surf Ninjas was a good movie. That was another one that like I'd be down to. That was Rob Schneider's best movie easily.
Yeah,
that he ever did. Yeah. But yeah, I should rewatch that sometime soon. I haven't seen that in years. Kwansu, dude. Yeah, Ryan knows what's up. That was, I remember the youngest kid, like he could like tell the future through a Sega Game Gear. Like
yeah. Yo, these 90 movies, y'all are blowing my mind with this. Johnny, yes, Johnny was the main character. Leslie Nielsen was in that.
Yeah, Leslie Nielsen. Yeah. Dude, and then there's two, Rod Belding. Yeah, Belding had a cool brother for like an episode.
That's one of my favorite episodes. Rod Belding, when he comes through and he's letting them do like mouth-to-mouth resuscitation right in the middle of the class, and he sets up the whole big class field trip that Belding's been like preparing for all the months. He switches it up on him, and then he just bails at the last minute. That was like the white kind of less dramatic version of when Will's father comes in Fresh Prince, because he bails at the last minute like Lou does in Fresh Prince. Like it's kind of like that, but not. But Zach is the only one that hears the real deal, because Mr. Belding, when he comes to the class, he's like, oh, he had something come up, but if you don't mind, I'll go with you guys. And Zach's the only one that realizes that Mr. Belding is a G. Mr. Belding is the best guy possible for doing that.
That's right, because the real Belding wants to bring them on like a nature walk or something. Yeah. And like Rod Belding, what a cool name, Rod Belding. Rod Belding wants to take whitewater rafting. Yeah. And then Zach overhears Rod telling the real Belding like that he's like gotta like hook up with like some really hot chick instead of going on this trip with the kids, and Zach overhears it. Yeah. Wow. Rod Belding.
Rod Belding. Oh man, it's so what a great name. What a great name. Yeah, whenever there's siblings coming in, that's the ones I kind of remember very vividly, or like parents coming in. Like I think the only one that we met Lisa's parents is when Zach drunk drives.
Yep.
When I think their senior year, and they go to like a toga party, and Lisa's too drunk to drive her car, so he's like, oh, I'm fine. I just had like 1 or 2 beers. I'm perfectly fine. And then he crashes the fucking car.
And aren't they singing like Wild Thing or something together in the car? Like when they crash, it's like something like that. And they're like not paying. Zach like turns around and like they crash, and then they have this whole elaborate plan on how to fix the car without anybody knowing. That part of the reason Zach was able to get away with so many schemes back then was because he was the only one with a cell phone. So he would like that giant gray cell phone. So he would like call in favors and stuff when like people couldn't communicate with other people because no one else had a cell phone.
Remember when the radio show was at the max and Zach was stuck in like detention all day with Belding chopping the bonsai tree? Yes. And he at the end he doesn't know the answer to like the last question when he gets to the max, and Belding follows him, but Belding does know the answer and he wins the trip. He was like chopping the bonsai tree for his wife for their anniversary gift, but instead he wins that, and that's the anniversary gift for his wife.
Well, isn't the answer to the question the bonsai tree?
I think so. Yeah.
Like, I think the question is like, which type of plant? Yada yada yada. And he's like Vonsu. Like, he can't think of like the name of it. And like Belding just like wants, he's like bonsai. And it's like, you win. Yeah. Oh man.
Those are great stuff. Great moments. We got in the live chat, I think work sucks. But dude, yeah, we did discuss Lisa and Zach's short-lived romance. Literally the most short-lived romance, because it only lasted 1 episode when Lisa was trying to do the fashion show and Zach was like the lead model, and they like make out, and Screech is coming in. He's gonna be the MC of the fashion show, and he comes in with the flowers for Lisa, and he just sees his best friend kissing the girl he's had a crush on. He even tells him, I remember when he's about to beat his ass, like he rips his shirt and stuff, and he's like, you could have any girl, Zach. Why did you have to pick Lisa? Like, oh my god. I still remember that. Like, I would say, you're absolutely right, Screech. This dude has been with every single girl on this show. He did not need to kiss Lisa.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and I'm pretty sure Zach even is like, just punch me in the face, man. I deserve it. Like something like that. And dude, I remember the episode where they learn about subliminal messages. So Zach like gets on like the PA system and like is trying to like brainwash girls into liking.
No, the tape. That's the tape. The tape with the because they played that up in the reboot. They play that up with Mac. Yeah, with Mac Morris. He has a whole bunch of tapes with the "Where Have You Going?" and it's the same song from the original series that Zach used to give the girls and have the subliminal messages of like, "You love Zach. You love Zach so
like,
much."
Zach Morris is a great guy, or like whatever he's saying in the background. Yeah. Oh man. I'm just trying. Now I'm just going through and seeing if I can like which episodes. I'm just looking at just random episodes now of just my god, this is really unlocking a lot that I have not thought about.
In your head, right?
Yeah. A long time. Oh yeah. There's the episode where I think it was it might have been Saved by the Bell. I think it was Miss Bliss, where somebody gets like a pimple before the dance or something.
I think I remember what you're talking. And then they
make a cream that like makes their face worse. Yeah.
And their face is all red and shit. Yeah.
And they also did the episode where they sold the rings that made your fingers green.
Yes,
scams all over the place.
That's the one I watched with my lady when I went to the show, because my lady had never seen Zach Morris's Trash. So I showed her that one where Zach basically he goes to like this scam artist who is very obvious a scam artist. He has like a whole bunch of rings with like like the fake hands come out of the suitcase, and they have a whole bunch of rings, and like he says, "Oh, that one looks nice," and he's like, "Oh no, you don't want this one. This one is too good." And he tells him it's like $995 per ring, but then he turns it upside down to $665. So Zach thinks he's getting a deal, so he spends like $20,000 on these rings, and they just turn everybody's fingers green, and they basically have to. This is also when Zach is going out with Tori, but Tori feels bad for Screech because Lisa keeps turning him down. So she goes on a movie date with Screech, and Screech falls in love with Tori because he was just himself the entire time. And like he gives the ring to Tori. So when they find out that the rings turn everybody's finger green, Zach and Slater come up with the scheme to tell Tori that, oh, you have to tell Screech that, the symbol of their love is turning people's fingers green, and he needs to go get revenge. So Screech turns into like this karate master, and they fake like a fight between Screech and Slater, and he beats Slater's ass and then kicks Zach out the way, and then the guy, the jewelry scammer gets scared of Screech and gets them the real rings, and that's how they solve that episode.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude. I'm remembering this is hilarious to me. Remember the episode where they like, I don't remember why, but like Zach gets sent to like have to do like ROTC, like the military. And like when he like takes it real seriously, and they have like the guy who's like the head of the army who like eventually he like wins over his respect. And then once again, you just never see Zach involved in like anything that has to do with military or ROTC training or anything ever again. But like, it seems like he's gonna go that route, and then it just never happens.
I think like he just comes for like one thing, and then Zach is the one that like tries to like backtalk him and stuff to the point that they start like the whole ROTC. Like basically, it's Zach's fault that the whole class has to take this ROTC type of like long-term class, and then Zach is like the one who's trying to like go against it, and then eventually he like gets into it, and at the end he's the one that kind of like wants to like join the army and everything.
Yeah, and then but then he just doesn't ever. But like he wins over the guy who's like in charge of it. I remember him finally being like yeah, I got his respect, and then just
one of the early season ones I remember is when they do the class where Zach and Kelly get married. And it's great, like they pair everybody up. It's Zach with Zach and Kelly. It's Screech and Lisa, and Jesse and Slater. And Lisa like starts getting allergic to Screech, and they have to like break each other off, and they become the son and the daughter for the two other couples. And Slater comes out with the scheme to get Screech to break up Zach and Kelly because he really wants to get with Kelly.
Yep. Oh my god. Speaking of Kelly too, like Kelly and Jeff, because I know we talked about that very briefly, because Jeff was the worst like at the time. It turns out it probably was the best guy in the whole show. He's like actually like
no, remember he cheats on Kelly.
He does cheat on her.
Yeah, because that's the fake ID episode.
Yeah, at the attic.
Yes,
which is like that was the name of the club that they were using fake IDs to get into. And is that how she met Jeff? Was at the attic?
No. Jeff becomes the manager of the Max.
When
she's the waitress.
And I obviously remember Jeremiah Lasky is her teacher that she winds up getting with in college.
That's the worst one for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's the one where I was just like, all right, we get it. We get it that Kelly is attracted to older men. We get it. Like we didn't need to double down on it during the college years, because the college years everybody just wanted Zach and Kelly to be together. That's why I think when they finally did the Las Vegas wedding, it's like one of the highest rated things that Slave by the Bell ever did.
It makes sense. Was the attic where Kelly caught Jeff cheating on
Yeah, because first the guys go, they get the fake IDs because Zach meets this girl who goes to UCLA, and she
Right.
invites him to go to the attic, so they have to create fake IDs in the photo class. I think with Screech doing it, and then I think the girls find out and they're like, "Oh, that's cool, let's do it too," and they're like trying to talk them out of it, and then the guys have to tell Lisa and Jesse what happened. Like, oh, we saw Jeff cheating on Kelly at the attic, so we don't want to go. But they eventually decide to all go, and then Jeff is there again with the girl, and then Kelly finds out because Zach had told her, but she didn't believe him because she just thought he was just still hurt over her basically cheating on him with Jeff.
That's right. That's exactly. I remember this very vividly now. This all going down, and I remember
that's when
like,
Kelly was the biggest heel for me. It was when she cheated on Zach the first time with Jeff.
Yeah, for sure. And that was also, I think, the episode where like the girl from UCLA like calls Zach's house, like Zach's mom picks up, and like that's how she finds out like where they've all been hanging out and stuff. And then the movie, the wedding in Las Vegas, R.I.P. Gilbert Gottfried. He was in that. I remember. That was. I remember trying to rewatch that within the last couple of years, and it was like I just could. It was too weird without like the laugh track and stuff. Like, but I remember when I was a kid, really liking it because it was like finally we're getting like it was like everything was finally getting like wrapped up in a bow. It was like, all right, Zach and Kelly are getting married because he proposes at the end of the college years, right? So like
when he's about to go away on like this cruise or something, he shows up and he asks her to get married.
Yeah. And then like the wedding in Las Vegas thing, I don't remember exactly how it all goes down, but they wound up like going to jail for some reason. Like
I think they were speeding. Yeah, they were speeding, and they get locked up in jail because they were having a race with the girls who can get to Las Vegas first.
Right. Yes. I can't remember a lot of what happens on there though, so like maybe I should go back and watch it because there was some sort of like villains that were chasing them around and stuff too.
Because I think it's Slater gets with one of the girls at like the hotel who works, and she's like the boyfriend for like this mob boss or the girlfriend for this mob boss, and then the guys that are chasing him are like his lackeys, and then they like trap them into like some part because I remember there's like a whole big Vegas show that they sneak on and get involved with. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that reminds me of the final episode because there's a lot of similarities I'm seeing between Saved by the Bell and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Because when Will has to graduate in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he has to do the dandelions when he's with the little kids. You are my sunshine. He has to do that. And then when he has to graduate, he has to join like the dance team, and they have to do like the whole dance
like a credit short or whatever for that's right. That's right. Yep. That's like the one thing he needs to do to be able to graduate. He was like one credit short or whatever. And they're like, well, there's this one thing you can do and you get to walk with the rest of your class. Wow. And I talked about it last week for anyone who missed it, shout out Kevin the Robot from the early days of Saved by the Bell. I got to drink a pitcher of beer with the guy who was the voice of the robot a handful of years ago. I just randomly met him at a bar. He was the guy who was running karaoke night, and I eventually realized it was the same guy. So that's my one link to the show is like I got to meet Kevin the Robot and drink beer with him. So that's kind of cool, I guess.
Great stuff. Great story right there. You're a legend. You're a legend for that.
Yeah. I got to hang out with the most obscure character in like the history of the show. He did tell me though, he said, because this was like years before there was any reboot or anything, and like Jimmy Fallon still hadn't like got them together yet, but there was like a push for like to get everyone together. And I remember him telling me that even he was invited like as the robot, like it was gonna be the robot, Screech, and all the main characters were going to be together, but because Dustin Diamond was the only person who was refusing to do it, like he couldn't really be the robot if like Screech wasn't going to be there, and so it kind of screwed him out of being able to be a part of the reunion also. I mean, here's the thing, I like Dustin Diamond. I get that he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I read his book that apparently was just like filled with just a bunch of lies and stuff. But he did kind of pioneer celebrity boxing. That's gotten very, very big nowadays, celebrity boxing. And like he was doing it really before anyone else. I mean, it was like him and like Danny Bonaducci and like these dudes were like, so I want to give Dustin Diamond a shout out on that, I guess. Cause like he wasn't a perfect person or whatever. Nobody is, but like he was like the one who had a falling out with everybody apparently. And he was also the youngest. And I think that had a lot to do with it, where like he didn't really, when you're nowadays, like when you're in like your 30s and you meet someone who's like 5 years younger than you, it's no big deal. It's just like, you're both adults or whatever. But when you're kids, those few years are a big deal when you're 18, but you don't want to be hanging out with like a 15-year-old. Like, you know what I mean? And like, that's what Screech was dealing with the whole time he was on Saved by the Bell. He was a few years younger than the rest of the cast. So they were all tight and they were all dating each other and stuff. And he was kind of left out. And I think that's where a lot of the resentment and disconnect came from between him and the rest of the characters on that. And then apparently he did make up to some degree with everybody before he died. But it was like really sad because he should have been a part of the reboot and he wasn't. And that's really unfortunate.
Like the best episode of the reboot, either season 1, season 2, is when they do a whole tribute to Screech after, I think it's in season 2, like that. I think the first or second episode of season 2, they like do a whole like meeting at the Max with Lisa, Jesse, Slater, Kelly, and Zach, and they like tribute, like they have a Screech burger at the Max now, and like they pay tribute to Screech in that way. It's like the best episode. So
that's nice. I had heard that they done that. I hadn't seen it, but I do want to watch that. His name wasn't Max. Was it the magician guy?
No, that was Max.
That was Max. Okay.
Yeah.
Was he in the reboot?
Yeah, he's been in the reboot. Yeah, they get him. They get him back at the Max.
Wow.
Breaking every health code possible as usual.
That's funny. So yeah, I forgot that he was Max. But yeah, he was like a magician who would he was like he ran the place, but he was always doing magic tricks. That's so funny.
Yes. But I think that's going to bring us to a close on the main show. We're going to do maybe like 20, 30 minutes over on Twitch, because the Zach Morris is Trash episodes are like 4 minutes long, so we can get like 4 or 5 in that amount of time. But you could join us on Twitch, Jensen, if you want to share that in the chat with everybody. Twitch.tv /Fight Talk _ or twitch.tv / True Hill Heat Wrestling. We're going to go live over there, watch some Zach Morris is Trash episodes. They're all up on YouTube, so you guys can watch along with us. You just put Zach Morris is Trash in the search bar. But I think we're going to do more episodes like this. Degrassi Dudes, we love to talk about Degrassi, and there's a lot of Degrassi for us to discuss, but we don't mind taking a prelude out of that and talking about something completely different. And we kind of talked about Jay and Silent Bob a lot in the last episode due to them being involved in Degrassi, but this one we wanted to dedicate to Saved by the Bell because it kind of randomly came up in last week's episode, and I just was like, when Jensen asked me this week what we thinking for Degrassi Dudes, I think the nice follow-up was doing a full dedicated episode to Saved by the Bell. I see Ryan, CM, you guys seem to enjoy it, so let us know if there's any classic TV shows you also want us to discuss on an episode of Degrassi Dudes, and I think we can get into that as well.
Yes, and CM, it's actually ZSCK. I know that's weird, but it's ZSCK, right? Zach Morris.
Yeah.
with
the K.
And I would still put Zach Morris over Ashley Curran.
Absolutely. Because at least he was cool. He was at least cool with the trash things that he did.
Yeah, exactly. When we started the Degrassi Dudes, this whole series, we had said from day one that we will veer out into other shows with this. I've never seen One Tree Hill CM, so maybe I need to, but like I hear a lot about it and the comparisons between that and some of these other shows we talked about. The OC I never got into either.
Those I do know me and Jeremy Maggie are going to be talking about the OC because Jeremy was a big OC fan. So that might be something for FMC because I know he's gonna start rewatching once we're done with Entourage. He's gonna start rewatching the OC. But those OC episodes are like embedded in my brain. I don't even really think I need to go back and watch them because I used to watch that all the time with my mom. My mom used to love the OC. That was our thing on Thursday nights, 8 p.m. We watched the OC together. One Tree Hill was something I kind of watched more on like syndication because I remember they used to have like a soap opera channel. I forgot the name of the channel, but it used to have like the OC and One Tree Hill on it. And that's how I got into One Tree Hill. City Guys, that used to be a part of my Saturday morning block with Saved by the Bell.
I don't remember that at all.
I still remember the theme. CITY, you can see why these guys, the new guys, smarter streetwise. CITY, you can see why these guys, the new guys, smarter streetwise. Yo, that was my jam because they were in New York. So that was my jam for me. I was so excited about that.
All I remember about like kind of the shows revolving around Saved by the Bell, I remember there was a show called California Dream that was like clearly supposed to be like Saved by the Bell.
Yes, it was Saved by the Bell, City Guys, California Dreams, and Hang Time. Hang Time with Reggie Theus. Theus, and that was my first introduction to Anthony Anderson as well because he was on Hang Time as well.
That's right. I don't remember. I remember that show existing, but I don't remember anything about it. That's too funny.
Yeah, we definitely for you, Maggie. I'm gonna talk to Jeremy. We might have to speed up and talk a little bit about OC from what he remembers. So I'm gonna talk to Jeremy during the week. Next week on FMC for you, Maggie. Come join us 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. I know that's probably early as hell for you or late as hell for you, but we're gonna talk some OC. What Jeremy remembers from OC because I remember the what was her Julie Cooper. Julie Cooper is up there as one of the biggest bitches in soap opera history. CM mentions Dan Scott on One Tree Hill. Yo. Yeah, if I could get Jensen into One Tree Hill, you need to watch it just for Dan Scott for the amount of shit that because the whole concept of One Tree Hill is Dan Scott has 2 kids, right? So one kid he has at the end of his high school years with his high school sweetheart, and then he dumps her. And then he finds out that she got pregnant because he's going off to play basketball at college. And in college, he meets this new chick and gets her pregnant within his freshman year. So his kids are like 1 year apart, but he totally disowns the one that he had with his high school sweetheart. And they all live in the same town. So when they're going to school, the rumor, like everybody's talking about, oh, these 2 kids have the same last name. Are they brothers and whatnot? And they really don't interact until the son that he had with the high school sweetheart starts playing basketball, and it's really centered around basketball. So that's why I got into it very easily.
Okay, cool. That actually sounds interesting.
It's very interesting, I will say. One Tree Hill, I didn't watch, to be fair, CM. I didn't watch a lot of the later seasons. I would have to go back and watch like the later seasons because when they did the time jump, that totally threw me the F off with One Tree Hill. That was like, I was like, whoa.
Kind of along the lines of the OC. Just like the setting and stuff. I remember, like Laguna Beach and like was it called the OC? What was that called? It was like Laguna, the NPV shows. It was like Laguna Beach, and then it was the hills and stuff or whatever.
Yes.
This is such a small world thing. It just randomly came on. Not sure. This was like within the last year or so. I randomly saw like clips of one of those shows, Laguna Beach. It was one of those shows like that had like Kristen Cavallari and like all that. And I was so confused because I'm watching it and Ryan Satin, who's, wrestling media.
Yes.
He was Steven's roommate.
Yep.
And I was like, wait, what? That guy? And I was like, what? that's so random. And then I was like, oh, of course he was, because like he was on like TMZ and like all this other stuff. And I was like, oh, he's just always been like trying to be a celebrity. Like I get it now. But
Pretty much.
but yeah, I was like, that guy's on this. And then also my vote for next show to rewatch and then review here, because it would be really easy to rewatch it because there's not a lot of episodes. Me and you have to deep dive My Brother and Me.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah,
Like,
we've been talking about that for a while. Yeah.
Because that's one where, like, if you're our age, that was probably one of your favorite shows. But if you weren't our age, you don't even know it exists. Because, like, it was such a small period of time. I know even, like, Sean Ross Sapp, like, he loves that show. Like, I mean, like, because, like, if you grew up on Nickelodeon in the 90s, My Brother and Me was, like, one of the best shows. But it had such a short run.
Like, you remember the live action show so well because Nickelodeon was only like cartoons for a lot of them. Like, I remember My Brother and Me, Carissa Explains It All, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Those were like my childhood.
All
like,
that.
Yeah, all that. Kenan and Kel. Yeah. I remember those. Pete and Pete. Oh,
hey Sandy. Yeah.
And living happily in rain.
Says she may.
I love that theme.
Or have you hit your target?
And my main. Ryan said Secret World of Alex Mack. Yo,
turning into liquid and sliding under doors and stuff. Yeah.
She turned into a goddamn puddle.
Yep. Clarissa Explains It All with Sam would just like climb up a ladder into her room and stuff, and it was the 90s, man. Things were different.
That's why when Sabrina came out, I was like, that ain't Sabrina, that's Carissa.
That happened just recently on AEW when people were calling her Sabrina. I was like, no, that's Clarissa Darling. Do not be calling her Sabrina. That's not the same.
Yo, I loved whenever that happened, when you saw somebody from another show and you were just like, nah, that's not her. Like when I think Six from Blossom showed up in the Parkers and she's like, Stevie, I'm like, nah, that's Six. That's Six right there.
You gotta stick with the how you remember them first that's too funny. So yes, we have a lot of things we can deep dive still right here on Degrassi Dudes. That has nothing to do with Degrassi, but we will have more Degrassi talk soon. There's still, like SB3 said, there's still a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to Degrassi. And then we're going to have a lot more as like the reboot gets closer and closer and stuff too. Plus, there's still a good chance of having like some actual characters from the original Degrassi, the next generation and stuff like on the show. We've been in contact with potentially getting some Degrassi cast members on the show to talk to us about their experiences being on Degrassi. So yeah, join us right now. I mean, it'll be within the next couple minutes. We're gonna jump on the Twitch links are in the comments here. You can see them there. It's True Hill Heat and Fight Talk _. And we're gonna watch a few episodes of Zach Morris's trash from was it Funny or Die?
Funny or Die.
Yeah.
So you could put that up on the YouTube if you have a secondary screen, or we're gonna have it on the screen with us, so you could check it out with us. But we'll be up on there in like less than like 2-3 minutes. We're just gonna go smoothly into there. But thank you all for joining us on the main show for Degrassi Dudes. Remember to drop a thumbs up on the video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you are new to the Fightful Overbook YouTube channel, because every Friday we're here 10 a.m. Eastern time talking about Degrassi or any classic TV show. It seems that's what this show is all about, and we love the interaction in the live chat. So join us next week as we're going to talk some more old school TV.
Yes.
So we will see you until next time. This has been Degrassi Dudes, or Saved by the Dudes.
Saved by the Dudes. See ya. Standing at the edge of tomorrow. Today.